You shall have no gods. You shall not make any idols. You shall not misuse the name of God. You shall keep the Sabbath holy. Respect your father and mother. Damn. Guess that's right. Fuck yeah.
Hi, I'm Rob Cram, and today we're taking a look at Farm 51 and Nordic Games' Painkiller Hell Damnation, which is a remake of the previous Painkiller game, Painkiller, and the add-on Painkiller Battle Out of Hell, which was released in 2004. Players take on the role of Daniel Garner, a man trapped between heaven and hell, and a man on a mission to be reunited with his wife. However, an encounter with death has given him a chance to make his wish come true, as long as Daniel can provide death with a number of souls, 7,000 to be precise. Always up for the task in his lingering hell, Daniel agrees to death's terms and begins his journey into 14 levels of ass-stomping shooting action. Painkiller makes no bones about its roots and instantly feels like the classic shooters of yore for anyone coming from the old school background of FPS games. There are no mind-bending puzzles, switches and doors to fathom, just an onslaught of willing opponents who ultimately die in their numbers by the hand of one man. The onus is on shooting swarms of enemies whilst not really paying too much attention to the story and simply focusing on collecting dropped orbs from the fallen. There are some alternative moments to the gameplay where Daniel enters a demon form after so many souls have been collected, but sadly this is quite random and sometimes happens where it's of no use at all. When it does work, Daniel is then able to one-hit kill enemies for the duration, which isn't very long. As an underlying challenge, each level offers specific requirements which, if met, unlock tarot cards, which can be equipped and used as bonus attributes or activated in game. Whilst not essential for play, the bonuses can come in handy when configured correctly, turning the odds in Daniel's favour. Painkiller comes with some meaty weapons to offset the sheer numbers of enemies rushing towards Daniel from all directions. What's cool about these, other than the fact that there's no reload, is the range of choices Daniel has. A short-range shotgun also doubles up as a freeze weapon, which when used in combo offers some shattering results. A rocket launcher doubles up as a minigun, making for the most deadliest of weapons, and with no switching required other than a millisecond of downtime between modes, these can let rip on the fly. There's some real satisfaction gained from using all of the diverse weapons on offer, as they each have a real weight and kick behind them as enemies explode into bits or get flung across a room and then splatter into various body parts. It's a visceral and no holds barred in Daniel's hellish world, and with players in the driving seat, it's one hell of a wicked ride. However, Painkiller is no pushover, and on default normal, expect to die quite often. Luckily, the checkpoint system is pretty forgiving, and a waypoint marker is there for those who get lost in all the excitement. Generally, the navigation and controls are easy and work well with a control pad too. The game runs very smoothly and isn't the most resource-hungry game out there, so it should work well on a variety of systems. The graphics are detailed, edgy and coarse, yet at the same time there are some wonderfully realised locations to fight in that not only look good but add a sense of space to the claustrophobic moments of the adventure. Whilst not the most detailed game, the art direction and design have been masterfully crafted. The enemy design is also interesting and offers typical grunt-like demons to hunched witches and even demented orphans. There's some silly ones thrown in for good measure, which add a bit of humour to the serious business of soul collecting. There are also 4 bosses on offer which require players to simply shoot until they die. Often these massive encounters are seemingly vague, but well worth the price of entry despite some cheap boss moves thrown in for good measure. Audio is of a high standard and comes complete with a thumping metal soundtrack well suited to all things hell. However, the rest of the audio becomes very background, and if the music is muted, there's an array of rich and sometimes jarring audio effects to listen to. The music and its implementation is all about taste, and if metal is the music of choice, then the volume has to be turned up to 11. Anyone else would do well to mute or play their own, but in doing so, some of the game's spirit would be lost. Painkiller isn't the longest single player game, offering some hours of solo play with the story and then several difficulties to mess around with. To combat this, a co-op mode is available where 2 players can go through the entire campaign together. A survival mode and some competitive multiplayer options, which include a number of classic modes, is also available. As an entire package, there's a reasonable amount to sink your teeth into, and if brave enough, the toughest difficulty awaits the most die-hard players. Painkiller Hell Damnation is a solid first-person shooter in a world obsessed with too many extras embedded into shooter gameplay. Painkiller's simplistic approach is deliberate and a breath of fresh air as it delivers an experience that is becoming a rarity these days. Whilst there are other similar games still providing the old-school flavour, Painkiller offers an over-the-top, demon-busting, fun-filled ride that's easy to pick up and play, non-taxing and a great game to let off some steam. If you played the original, then this will be familiar turf, but if not, then this is a respectable budget game to invest in. In its own right, regardless of its peers, Painkiller is a solid game let down only by its brevity, and therefore scores a well-deserved 8 out of 10. I'm Rob Cram, thanks for watching.